Okay, good morning. Welcome, Year 2s, to our first lesson for Week 3 for English. If you haven't already done so, you should have looked at the video about making corrections on your Christmas recount. So that would be your first job today. If you've done that, you're in the right place. Okay. If you're Year 1s, there is a different video for you for today. It's all about correcting sentences and making sure you've got the correct punctuation. Year 2s, we're going to do something different. We're going to learn about adverbs. Okay, so we're going to talk about in a minute what an adverb is. We're going to think about how we make adverbs, and we do that by adding a suffix. So you think about the suffixes we've been doing ed, we've been doing plurals, well, you're going to learn another one today. We're going to make sure that we choose the correct adverb to fit in a sentence. And then your activity today is in your book. You are going to have a go at making some adjectives into adverbs and then using them in your own sentences. Okay, so let's start. What is an adverb? Okay, so Alicia has been writing some sentences. Her teacher has asked her to make sure each of her sentences has a verb. So I've got two sentences here. Can you spot the verb? So here we have the brown fox ran and Jack walked down the corridor. Okay, I want you to have a quick chat to your grown-up. Which one of those words in those sentences do you think is the verb? Okay, so have a quick chat, pause it now, and then unpause, and I'll carry on. Right, now you've had a little bit of a chat. I'm hoping a discussion. I'm hoping that you will have come across ran and walked. Okay, a verb is an action. It's something that you do. Okay, so what did the brown fox do? It ran. What was Jack doing down the corridor? He walked. He didn't run. He didn't tiptoe. He didn't jump. He didn't slide. He walked. Okay. Now Alicia was really pleased that she'd included verbs in her sentences, but she was worried that they were a bit boring. Okay. So how could we make them better? Well, we can do that by adding an adverb. Okay. Now an adverb tells us more about the verb, and I've underlined the ones for us here. It tells us how we did something. So it describes not the noun like an adjective does, but it describes the verb, which is why it's called an adverb. Okay, so here the brown fox ran. How did he run? He ran quickly. Jack, how did he walk down the corridor? He quietly walked down the corridor. What do you notice about those two words? Let's have a think. Okay. So, adverbs then. Here are some examples. We've got quietly, firstly, suddenly, quickly, loudly, angrily, slowly, and unfortunately. Now, just like quietly and quickly, which we had before for the fox and for Max, we've got all these other ones as well. And as I said, what did you notice about them? They all end in ly. And this is that suffix I was talking to you about at the beginning. If it ends in ly, we know it's an adverb and it's going to describe a verb. Now, it can describe how something is done, when something is done, and also where something is done as well. Now we're going to focus on the how today. There are a couple of ones. When, firstly, suddenly, they would be ones to describe when, but the rest describe how something is done. And that's what we're going to focus on today. So let's look at how we would add the suffix onto these words. So we've got quiet, slow, loud, angry, and unfortunate. Now they're all adjectives. The quiet man, the slow slug, the loud music, the angry footballer, the unfortunate old gentleman. They are all adjectives, but we want to make them into adverbs. So how do we do that? We add ly. Okay, so let's have a look at what those words look like afterwards. We've got quietly, slowly, loudly, angrily, talk about that one in a minute, and unfortunately. Now, all we've done is add ly to almost all of those. The one that doesn't fit is this one, because if you look here, we have a y and we've had to change it to an I to add ly. So y to an I, just like we do when we're adding ed or when we're making plurals. When we're adding a suffix to y, we change it to an I and then add the suffix, which is what we've done here. Okay, so that's the first activity in your book. So if you want to stop the video now and just do that first part of the activity in your book and then come and carry on, that's fine. So what do we do with these words then? What I want to try and do is to think about them at the start of a sentence. So we call that an adverb starter or an adverbial starter. And again, it describes how we're going to do something. So we're going to add the verb to these 4 sentences. Which one fits? So we've got something Rosie banged around in her room. So how, here's the verb, how did she bang around in her room? Did she angrily bang around her room? Did she quickly? Did she happily? Did she noisily? Okay, you're not writing this down. I just want you to have a think. Which one do you think fits that sentence? Now, there are a couple that could fit, but which one fits better? Okay, have a little chat to your grown-up. Pause it if you need to, but I'm going to tell you the answer in about 5 seconds. Okay, now, I would put noisily up there. Now, the thing with noisily is because it's coming at the start of a sentence. Oh, that's not worked. That's moving the whole thing. So, noisily, Rosie banged around her room. Now, because we've added it to the start of the sentence, that should actually be a capital N. Let's make that a capital N. Right then. The next one. Something Aunt Rose and Rosie worked on the flying machine. Did they angrily, Aunt Rose and Rosie, work on the flying machine? Quickly, Aunt Rose and Rosie worked on the flying machine? Or happily, Aunt Rose and Rosie worked on the flying machine? 5 seconds, which one do you think it is? Okay, it's happily. You could have had quickly, but happily is the one I was choosing. So we've got 2 left, 2 adverbs. Rosie slammed the door. Did she quickly slam the door? Did she angrily slam the door? Well, that could be either. So let's have a look at the next sentence as well. Rosie ran to show Uncle Fred the cheese hat. Did she angrily run or quickly run? 5 seconds. It's quickly there and angrily there. Okay. So we're choosing the right adverb for the sentence. Okay, so here's your activity. Here you've got some adjectives: tired, happy, cross, proud, noise, surprising, unfortunate, shy, and interesting. Can you make them into adverbs by adding ly? So think. Most of the time you just add ly if the word ends in a Y, you change it to an I and add ly. Okay, there are 2 of them. 2 ones where you would have to change the Y to an I on here. Which ones do you think they are? Once you have done this, then there is a little bit of an extra. Can you use these in some sentences? And again, just like we did with our examples, try and do it at the start of the sentence. So happily, what happened? Crossly, proudly, noisily, surprisingly, unfortunately, shyly, interestingly, softly, tiredly. Tiredly, the old man got out of bed. Okay, you're not allowed to use that one, but that's an example of one. So you've got space in your English book to write some sentences, choosing some of those adverbs. Okay, that's it for today. Come back tomorrow for some more rosy fun.